Hello everyone, this is Kaz from Conscious Explorers, and I've been asked a very difficult question to answer, which is, what is the difference between lucid dreaming, astral projection, out-of-body experience, meditation, and quantum jumping? And the reason this question is difficult to answer is because there are two answers that I could give. One is based on the paradigm that we all operate on, and the other is based on an entirely different paradigm. A paradigm that changes the whole nature of reality. So for me to actually answer this question authentically, I need to explain to you my true paradigm that I feel is really what's going on, and that's not a small task. So in order to do this, let's start quickly by talking about what a paradigm is. A paradigm is like a container for all your beliefs. It's the very fundamentals that sit below everything that you believe. I'll give you some examples. One is that the world is round. So we used to live in the paradigm that the world was flat, and then science came up with some conclusions and just blew everyone away, and suddenly we thought the world was round. Well, most of us did. There are some people that still think it's flat, and if they can provide enough evidence, the paradigm might shift back to where it was before. Another example of a paradigm is the idea that I have an inner world and that there's an outer world. Okay, that means that in this paradigm, we are separate people. Now, I know that there are spiritual people that believe that we are all one, but in the way that we operate in the world, we operate as if you are another. Another paradigm is time. Time moves from the past to the future, at least in our perception of it, and we feel like we're moving through it. This doesn't actually make sense in science, but that's at least how we operate. Okay, so I'm going to start by talking about the lucid dream, because the lucid dream offers, in fact, the perfect analogy for the paradigm that I wish to explain. So let's talk about what that is. A lucid dream is when you become conscious in the dream and you know you are dreaming. And it's really a remarkable thing, because most of the time the dream is very hazy. When you wake up, you don't really remember it that well. It's all a bit vague. But when you become conscious that you're dreaming, it goes boom in like HD color, and suddenly you are boom, like you're right in it and you can do stuff, and it's absolutely amazing. So there are levels, different levels of lucidity. A low level of lucidity is just the knowledge that you're dreaming, but you don't really have much control. So let's say that you're getting chased by a dinosaur. You think, oh, I'm being chased by a dinosaur, but I know I'm dreaming, I'm going to go and hide. So you've made a kind of conscious decision within that dream. A higher level of lucidity would be like, you know what? It's not only that I'm here dreaming, but I am actually the dinosaur as well. So I'm going to turn that dinosaur into some gorgeous man or woman and do other things with them. That would be another option. Another level of lucidity would be, I'm going to just completely cancel this scene. I want to be on a beach practicing surfing, for example. Even further levels of lucidity, you could collapse the dream altogether and do a whole array of other things, which is a very big topic for another video. Although one of the things that you could do at that point is astral project or have an out-of-body experience. Come back to that in a minute. I'm now going to talk about the out-of-body experience. The classic out-of-body experience is the experience of lying in your bed, being in your body, and it's the idea that we have an energy body that's sort of inside this body and that it can leave. And so in the classic out-of-body experience, you come out of your body, you should be able to go anywhere that you want. Let's say I go to my neighbour's house, and in reality, in the waking life, my neighbour's playing the guitar, and I wander and float in through there, and I will see exactly what's going on. I will see it as if I was there with my own eyes. This is the classic OBE. Now, astral projection. Astral projection can be accessed in two ways. It can be accessed through the lucid dream, or it can be accessed from a classical out-of-body perspective. So if you have an out-of-body experience and you land yourself in the physical plane, which you know generally, you can shift to other levels, right? So there's a plane, if you like, that people call the energetic duplicate, which looks identical to the physical world. In fact, when I've come out on the energetic duplicate, I've thought I'm just going to the toilet. I didn't even realise I was having an out-of-body experience. It was that vivid. And you wander through your house, but there's always a clue that you're on the energetic duplicate. It can be one little thing, like there's a pair of trousers or a sock or a shoe, and you just know it's not there because you cleaned your room before. Who leaves the clue? This is another topic, and we can talk about that. We'll maybe talk about it in this video. It doesn't matter for now. There is a clue, and you're like, oh, I'm out of body and I'm on the energetic duplicate. From the energetic duplicate, it's very easy to access the astral worlds. Now, astral is a word that's loaded with dogma, and therefore is often frowned upon by certain, let's say, out-of-body travellers or whatever. So, but anyway, just to make it, because we want to understand what this terminology is about, the astral worlds are epic. There's something very large about them. In my experience, they're always just bigger. And the only thing that I can really relate to this feeling of bigness is if you've ever got a little bit stoned and suddenly you just feel like your consciousness has kind of expanded and everything's a lot bigger. The astral worlds have that sense about them. They're also hyper vivid, and the colours are like HD. So it's like the normal world is in like normal, and then when you go into an astral world, it's like you're in 5K or 8K or whatever the best thing is. The colours are very vibrant. And also, places that you know in the physical tend to have an astral counterpart. So there's an astral version of my house, there's an astral version of my old school, there's an astral version of different countries. And I know that I'm not actually there. I know that I'm on the astral version of it because, like I said, there's these bright colours, they're sort of larger. And actually, they have some similarities to the lucid dream. So you could say, how do you know that you're not lucid dreaming? Again, another big topic, but just trust me on this. They're pretty similar. There are also astral worlds, places that do not relate to the physical in any way at all. Like they're just out of this world. But they have that sense about it, and you know. It's like asking someone, how do you know that reality is real? Like, how do you know? You just kind of know as much as you can know. Right. So that's a quick explanation of those three things. We'll get to the other things later. So now the paradigm that I want you to consider. Lucid dream. When you're having a lucid dream and you know that you're dreaming, let's say that you are in your house, right? And you're having a cup of tea with your mum, and suddenly you see a giraffe in the corner of the room and it triggers your thoughts. And you think, hang on a second, there's never giraffes at my mum's house. I must be dreaming. And boom, you're like hyper awake in your dream. Right, now you leave your house and you get in your car and you drive to the shop. Now let's think about that for a second. Where have you actually gone? It feels like you've traversed time, but in fact you haven't traversed any space or time because there's not really been any movement that's happening. You've just been in the house and now you're in a car and now you're in this shop, for example. But what is actually happening is that like frames are being rendered. You're not actually moving anywhere. Also, where does your house go when you're in the car? Well, it doesn't go anywhere because it just isn't there anymore. It's just not there. It's not in the now field. It's not in the now frame. And really, when you're very lucid, you know that you are the house and I am the car and I'm everyone else in this dream. So even though at that moment I have this very limited perspective, I'm talking to my mum, I'm in the house, I know that actually it's all me. And when you do know that it's all you, suddenly you can actually have entire awareness. You can be fully and totally the whole dream. Or you can split yourself into many people and you can be doing certain things concurrently. In fact, if you're someone that regularly writes down their dreams, you might notice that it's quite difficult to get the ordering of the things that happened. Like you start writing something down, then you write the next thing and you think, hang on, did that actually happen at the same time? Or did that actually happen before, or after? And you can't really tell. I think that's because it is happening at the same time. Time in dreams is operating very different because time is, according to science, irrextricably, I never know what that word is, but it's connected. It's connected in a way that can't be disconnected. And so when there's no space, there can't be any time either. Okay, so I'm going to now talk about quantum jumping, and then we'll get back to this. Right, so quantum jumping is the idea that it's based on quantum physics, right? And in quantum physics, there is a whole bunch of possibilities that can happen. And let's say they're here. Here are all the possibilities of something that can happen. And here in the middle is the most likely possibility. So at any kind of given point in the quantum world, there is the most likely thing that is about to happen next, right? That's always kind of the case. But before that happens, things exist in a state of possibility. And that possibility is called a wave, right? I mean, if this doesn't make any sense to you, I would recommend watching things about the double slit experiment and reading about quantum entanglement. It's a bit of a confusing concept, but it is well established in science now, and it's not like an out there thing. Things exist in a state of possibility before they become actualized into reality. And what the double slit experiment showed is when there is some kind of measurement device positioned in a certain place, that will ensure that the wave possibility will collapse in that particular place, right? So the idea behind quantum jumping is that there are many parallel worlds in which every single possibility is existing all at the same time. So let's say that I'm in this possible world, and let's say that I'm heavily in debt and I'm not happy about it. Now, the most likely thing might be that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and, you know, equally be miserable and in debt, or whatever. But somewhere out in the universe of existence, there is a version of me that's, let's say, stinking rich. And I want to shift into that person. I want to shift into the Kaz version that's really rich. And so the idea is that with quantum jumping, with visualization and with feeling, you basically feel the way that that person would feel. I need to feel like that rich Kaz. How does that one feel? By doing that enough, I'm going to just shift myself into that world. Like, even if it happens gradually, like, but we wouldn't even know. Let's say that I suddenly go to sleep and I wake up and I'm stinking rich. I might be suddenly there with all my past memories leading up to the conclusion that I should be stinking rich. And I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even have a sense of a jump having happened because I've just landed with a whole history into that space. So this is the idea behind quantum jumping. There is a gentleman, I can't remember his name, just look it up on YouTube. He invented it and I'm giving you my take on it. So he might say something different, but this is how I've seen it and how I've used it. Right, let's go back to this lucid dreaming paradigm. So I think that the lucid dream represents how reality really is. I do not think that there is an inside and an outside world. Therefore, I do not believe in the out-of-body experience because I don't think you've got a body in the first place. I think that reality is exactly like the lucid dream. I think it's rendering nows, and in it we have a very limited perspective. This is a 3D simulator, if you like, where things are very clunky. When I want to manifest something, let's say I want to paint my house, I can't just boom and it's painted. I have to go and get the materials and do some work, and it takes some time, right? In a lucid dream, I could have the house, boom, it could be done instantly. So in the lucid dream, I think that the lucid dream is the closest, this is reality as much as possible. This is pure potential, where you can just be and do anything instantly. But in the 3D world, we have severe limitations. Severe is a bit harsh, but we have big limitations that block a lot of information. And the reason for this is so that we can have experiences. Because I can't experience frustration if, boom, I can like have my house decorated in 1 second. I can't experience courage if there's nothing for me to fear because there's a dinosaur chasing me and I can make it disappear. There's all kinds of things that I can only experience because you and I feel separate, and because there's a sense of time, and because there's a sense of death as well, and there's a sense of space. All these things are providing a whole host of experiences that I couldn't have if I'm just God and I can just whip up whatever I want whenever I want. So, the astral worlds, lucid dreams, out of body, all these things, all these kind of experiences, I think, if you want to look at them as levels, which isn't quite right because they're not going up or down, there isn't any space, but conceptually we have to use certain concepts in 3D world because we're trying to make some sense of things that don't really fit. They allow us, they're like little clues, I think, that we've left for ourselves, or whoever we is, awareness and consciousness has left for itself, which can be really helpful, especially when you're getting lost in it all and feeling very trapped. I don't believe that we really die. I don't believe that we're really here. You know, when someone asked me, like, what happened to, you know, my friend that died, it's a difficult question because they were a character as much as you were a character. Again, in the dream, you know, if your friend dies in the dream, what happened to the friend that died in the dream? Well, they died and you had that experience and it was very sad. But really, it's all dream stuff. And there is one dreamer. That's it. So meditation, I haven't really spoken about meditation, but meditation and imagination is another kind of experience thing that you can have. It quite quietens the active mind so that you, you know, just become more in tune with this awareness, this consciousness that is the everything. So I don't know if that's just made life a hell of a lot more confusing, and I probably need to make this video 20 times over to actually explain what I'm trying to explain. But because you've asked me and I've promised to do it today, this is my version for today. Please ask me any questions, and I really hope that makes sense. Lots of love.